Georgia Tech, Florida State.
If you're going to ruin the show by doing research,
Notre Dame.
My dentist is a Notre Dame grad.
Definitely smells.
Casey the Beef Krieger for the 27th straight week. We're talking to each other.
Yeah, it's a beautiful day. Beautiful day here. We had our first snowfall here up in the Northeast, which you wouldn't think is exciting, but it is, especially when you work in the basement all day and you come upstairs at 1 o'clock for some air and you see a beautiful white snow. But yeah, we're here. We're back. College football is raring to go. A lot of news came out today. I'm happy to be here with you, pal.
No doubt. Hey, tell me you're happy about that snow in, let's say, like mid-February when it's like 2 feet outside. And how's the little fella? Does he enjoy the snow?
He does. He is his mother's son. His mother grew up on a snow hill, basically, whereas I went as far away as possible as I possibly could from it for a lot of years, but back in it. So it looks nice for, like you said, about a minute and a half when it's white, and then cars drive on it and turns black and brown, and it's slippery and it's awful.
Cool. Well, hey, I'm rocking the Seabrook Island shirt. I always do this wrong. I'm looking in the reverse on the screen. My sister sent me this shirt because the one I had from Hilton Head literally fell off my back. It fell apart, and I asked my sister, who happened to be on Seabrook that day, to send me a shirt, and she sent me this one. We spent we summered there one summer, a week, and we really loved it. Parker was little. He run around the beach, the pure white beaches. I mean, that area. You hung out down there in that vicinity. So I'm rocking the Seabrook Island shirt tonight, representing South Carolina. What you got going on?
I got my partner in crime here, Marty Seldom Used Reserve Coleman, sent me a beef in the heart of Texas from Salt Lick Barbecue. So,
well, here's the deal. When you come to Texas to visit, we're definitely going to the Salt Lick. Go out corner, as I always say, take a left, go about 12 miles, and it's down there. But the story behind that is that I actually went looking for a shirt for myself because shirts are falling off my back. They're so old. I only shop like once every 10 years. And I went on their website and I saw a couple, and I saw that one, and I said, man, I got to get that for Casey because, I mean, it's got your name on it. Right. So what the heck, dude? So anyway, we'll definitely hit up the Salt Lake when you get to Texas sometime.
That'll be good times.
Yeah, I'll take everybody there, so don't feel special. Well, we're going to start off with the rants today, Case. I think we're going to chime in on all of these together. And I'll start off first. What in the heck is the ESPN doing interviewing Ian Book in the middle of a Clemson Virginia Tech game? It was the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, man, I was not happy about it, but I did hear kind of a con to my pro being against it. I guess I'm a con being against it, but I did hear someone for it. I think it may be ABC planned it beforehand. You have to plan these things with sports information departments and press people at schools. They probably anticipated the Clemson Virginia Tech game being an extreme blowout, right? And so then they were going to need to fill something. In all actuality, I wanted to, I can't believe they did the split screen. That thing bothered me so much. Put them in the corner. There's technology now. I don't need half the screen Ian Book looking down into a camera and half a screen Clemson. I give him a corner or even just hear him. That's fine. So I don't have to listen to him. But in all actuality, he was very complimentary of Trevor Lawrence and Clemson. It didn't feel like Herb Street wanted him there. I thought it was really poorly placed. We don't have that happen for us.
Right.
No one. They're not having Dabo Swinney while Ian Book's playing Syracuse. They don't have Trevor Lawrence. Why are they doing that to Clemson? I know it's not anti-Clemson, but why are they even doing that in that game? It made no sense to me.
Yeah, they're hyping up. As you said, they know the game's likely going to be a blowout, and they're trying to hype up Notre Dame and Clemson in a couple of weeks, but they don't do the reverse. I mean, and I guess Notre Dame played in the afternoon, so it was pregame, and you're not going to have a coach or a player on that close to pregame. But I don't know. Can't they just say, "Hey, sorry, Ian, this is not the time and place," and we thought they cancel all the time, right? They have to. especially in 2020. But it just seemed awkward and weird and dumb.
It was very weird, and it really did feel like Fowler and Herbstreit both were very kind of thrown off almost, and they weren't even really talking about the game much. I know Herbstreit was trying to do like pick up the play-by-play because Fowler was tripping over his words to get questions out, and Ian Book said about 4 words. So yeah. I mean, it was just literally I went to mute, unfortunately, for it, and I was pissed when it was going on. I was pissed that they were doing it. I was so pissed. I was throwing expletives on my burner accounts on Twitter. I was all over the place. I mean, I could not handle it. I did not want it to happen. And then afterwards, it was like,
all 19 burner accounts you got.
Just call me Kevin Durant, baby.
By the way, Kevron's already chimed in on one of our topics. We'll talk about this in a couple of minutes, Kevron.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate it, Kevron.
No doubt.
Hello to you.
Thank you for the comments. Yeah, it was just weird. And I hate when it doesn't even matter if it's a Clemson game. Obviously, it's more important to me if it's a Clemson game. But whenever they take away from the game, it's not a good thing. Even if it was 45-10 or whatever it was when Ian Book came on, 31-10 or something, it's not a good thing. Somebody cares about that game, right? In this case, it happened to be Clemson fans, but it hasn't always been Clemson fans. They've done the reverse without not Trevor, but maybe they're talking to Dabo in the middle of some other blowout games. I don't like that either, by the way. I think they should focus on the game. Lord knows they got 6 hours of commercials. How about and actually it was when they were reviewing the play, but it kept going and going and going. It was just ridiculous.
I don't want to go off the path because I know we're good here, but did you notice that there weren't many reviews, and the reviews that there were in that game were very fast? I don't know if I was just looking for it or what, but it was.
I don't remember, so they must have been fast, or I'd have been screaming about it, burning up the text too.
I think there was only one, but it was very quick.
Yeah. They didn't want to hear the wrath of Sean McDonough, right? All right, next on the list we have a topic you put on the sheet: SEC bias. I'm sure I can help you out with this, but I'll let you start off.
Calling me out here, calling my bias out. Well, I have a hard time, and I know Georgia's getting better, but I have a hard time seeing Georgia at 6-2 and being ranked number 9. Now, I know I've said this from the start. I hate the polls, right? I can't stand them. I think they are so ancillary. It's brutal. But then again, I find myself looking at my phone, seeing the rankings, and getting pissed off about it, which is perfect, right? I see you laughing. But Georgia at 6-2 with blowout losses. And then, blowout to Florida. And then 8-1 Miami right behind them, the only loss to Clemson. And it's not an ACC SEC thing. It's an eye test team thing. Miami has one loss to the number 3 team in the country, and somehow a 2-loss Georgia team who got blown out by the number 6 team in the country is ahead of them. It just doesn't feel like it makes any sense. And then a 5-3 Missouri team. Missouri is 25th. Oh, they just so happen to be playing Georgia this weekend. Oh, make that a ranked matchup. There's just so much, maybe I'm making it up in my head. I'm not going to lump you in this. But there's just so much of this, you just scratch your head and go, really, guys? Really? Why don't you throw NC State in there? Oh, wait, they are. Okay, they're 8-3. But, why don't you throw, a team? I don't know. It just bothers the
Well, I'm on your side here. And don't let our friend Jeff Brett hear you talk about Missouri, but I'm on your side here. But I'm choosing a different team. I am choosing Texas A&M. You would have think they beat the 85 Bears the other day instead of a 5-4 Auburn team, right? It was like, wow, they sure were impressive. Well, they got a pass that hit defensive back in the hands. It should have been intercepted for a touchdown and all that, and they still only won by 8.
Again, changed the game.
A mediocre Auburn team with a horrible quarterback, and they act like they did the greatest thing in the world. And what a victory! I mean, that combined with their 12-7 win over Vanderbilt. Oh my, that team is the least impressive. And I told Dan Hope last week when he was on that I looked in the comments on 11 Warriors. They are not Texas A&M fans, and they shouldn't be. If that's who Ohio State is competing with, and we'll get to this in a minute, then Ohio State should be in whether they played 5 games or 2 games or 1 game. Maybe they weren't impressive in all of them, but Texas A&M is, if they're the 5th best team in the country, this is a bad, terrible, horrible year. I just can't believe Texas A&M is the 5th best team in the country.
Yeah, no, I don't either. And I thought their defense is good. I love Isaiah Spiller. I'm a big Isaiah Spiller fan. Because I was drawn because of 28, right? And his last name's Spiller, and the Clemson fans all know about CJ wearing 28. I like him a lot. He's a beast. He's a baller. I like their defense a little bit. They're not the 5th best team in the country. Sorry, they're not. I picked them to win the SEC West in the SEC, because I read and believed like Jimbo spouting to all his people, but they're not. They're not ranked. They shouldn't be ranked 5th. They beat Florida. That's what they're hanging their hat on, man. That's it.
Yeah, and it's 1 game, and you could argue the same thing. I guess you could, that Vanderbilt was 1 game. They had an off week, and Clemson has those types of games, but really, they didn't impress me Saturday. I mean, they impress the people who are impressed by the SEC no matter what it does. That's who they impressed. And apparently a lot of those guys vote. All right. Here's another rant on announcers. I heard this, and this is I believe it's mainly a Todd McShay thing. But you have a running back, it's 3rd and 3, and he gains 4 yards and gets the first down, and McShay spits out he's one of the best running backs in the country. Now, the guy may have 72 yards on the season or something crazy. I hear it so many times. There can't be 49 best quarterbacks in the nation. There just can't be. It's not just McShay. I happened to notice that on Saturday from him, but there really should be like 5, 7 best running backs in the nation, not 48, 49, not anybody that gains the first down. How about make your words mean something, folks, when you're praising players and when you're criticizing them? Make it mean something. Don't say he's one of the best players. He's one of the best running backs in the nation. That means nothing if you say it every week. Thank you.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. No, that's a great point, though. You're right. You're exactly right. It's almost lazy journalism. And that's one thing that back when I was doing production assistant work, AKA they called me up on a Saturday to work for an ABC and actually pay me for a Clemson game. I actually had opportunities to sit and drink beers with Sean McDonough. And there was stuff like that he would definitely tell me. Words like that and phrases like that, not necessarily, he didn't tell me that line necessarily, but phrases and words like that are lazy journalism, right? I know Todd McShay, I like Todd McShay, but his whole life is draft. So that's all he sees, all he does, all he evaluates. So he might have a board of 35 running backs, and in his mind, it just comes up. But there are phrases, and I'm not just picking on him or any other ones, that are so overused and so cliche that it is literally lazy. But it just top of mind, easy thing to say it.
Like interesting for me.
Like it's interesting I'd be interested to see, or it's interesting to see. Yeah.
And now I caught myself being lazy by just saying interesting as a filler or whenever I was trying to waste time to think of something brilliant.
But that's what they are. They're fillers. They're fillers for these people. I don't have anything on Lynn J. Dixon, so I'm going to say he's one of the top backs in the country. That's a sophomore. From Georgia.
He'll be one of the top backs in the country next year. Whatever. Yeah, exactly. All right. Now, my final rant of the night. No, in this section, I'll say. I'm sure I'll rant when we get to picks. But listening to a podcast, national podcast, guy is a big timer, FanDuel guy, right? And he's talking about Appalachian State and Louisiana from last Friday. And he's looking at the sheet, and he does say, I didn't watch the game, which is your first clue that you shouldn't add any analysis to it, right? I didn't see this game, so I'm not quite sure. But they took 2 safeties to pull Appalachian State within a field goal. Well, first of all, genius. Don't analyze the game you didn't watch. But secondly, is they didn't take the first safety. The ball was 49 yards over the kicker's head, and he had to kick it out of the end zone. Right? Now, the second one they took, and Napier rightly got criticized for that, and I get that. But what I don't understand is 2 guys who are so buried in analytics. I love analytics. You wouldn't know it from this podcast, but I love analytics. But 2 guys who are so buried in analytics, they can't be bothered to watch the game and don't understand the context of the first safety and why he took the second one. He took the second one because, the guy had 3 snaps over the head, right? And another bad snap on a field goal. So it is, and he was talking about, well, the win probabilities jumped up when they gave up the safeties. Well, no joke. No. But the win probability, let me tell you, would have gone higher if you let that guy snap the ball again over the head and recovered at the 1 or whatever. My point is, I love analytics, but if you start off something by saying, I didn't see the game, but let me look at the win probabilities and tell you how bad it was that he took a safety there, you're really bad. And that was really bad.
Yeah, that's one of those I think you and I even would look at and say, you know what, Marty, I don't know if we should talk about this. Not like we're experts or national guys, but like I didn't see the game. I can't really make a comment. But you're right, exactly. Like you didn't watch the game, you didn't see the what was going on. It was pouring rain. That poor kid had the yips on 3 in a row, and Napier kept sending him out there for more. And I felt bad for him after the second one. I said, they're going to keep sending him out to try to keep his confidence, or save his confidence. And it just kept not coming out. But the alternative, you're exactly right. If he doesn't take that safety at that last play there to cut it within 3 with 1minute and 40-something seconds left, it could have gone over the head. Appalachian State could have got a touchdown or got the ball really deep. And anyway, what's Nelson say here? I'm in violent agreement, Marty. Violent, Marty.
Actually, I questioned it at the time because he was at 35 and he gave up 15 yards of field position. But looking back, it worked. It was probably the right call. The guy was consistently horrible. And as you said, there's reasons for that. And some of them mental and some of them physical and the weather and all that stuff. So I ended up agreeing that he made the right call. I did question it at the time only because it pulled him within a field goal and he gave up 15 yards. Now, then Appalachian State goes down and misses the field goal. So horrible. What do they always say? College kickers. All right. Woo, we are on a roll tonight, and we have been ripping everybody. So let's talk about the new coach in Columbia. And I don't really have a strong opinion on this. I don't know what they're supposed to do. They reports out today they owe Will Muschamp the entire $15 million. So they really had to go low budget, right? I mean, there wasn't a whole lot they could do, I guess. What's your thoughts on Shane Beamer to the Gamecocks?
Yeah, it feels like a little bit of the Dabo hire back for the Clemson Tigers back in 08-09. Just never been a coordinator, has been in the industry for 20 years, bounced around a little bit, been at South Carolina, was right there smack dab in the center of getting the guys like Jadeveon Clowney and Stephon Gilmore and players like that. All the former players love him. They all want to be on his staff. The rumors are that he's going to go get Garrett Riley, Lincoln Riley's brother from SMU, offensive coordinator, and be the offensive coordinator. That's a rumor. It's not confirmed. There's also a rumor that old Bud Foster, the old DC for his dad, may come out of retirement to work for him for a year or two. Once again, rumor. A lot of former players. Seville Newton is ready to former quarterback who was right there in the brawl game back all those years ago. He's ready to come in and help out with coaching. So there's a lot of excitement, I think, with it. I don't know about Beamer himself. He went from a $400,000 a year job to getting $3 million a year. I'm sorry. I don't care if I was prepared for that job either. I'm gone. I'm taking that job.
Where do I sign?
Yeah, 100%, right? I mean, heck, the $400,000 job I would take, but you're multiplying it by 700%. Yeah, and maybe he has to be a cheerleader, kind of like we thought Dabo might be at the beginning, and surround himself with good coaches. And maybe the rivalry between Clemson and South Carolina is better when both teams are good. Yes, I love beating the crap out of them, but the games are better when we're both good.
Both years at South Carolina was good. Yeah, and I've heard an argument the other way. It used to be you couldn't get a job without being a coordinator. I mean, that was a criticism of Dabo, a huge one, by the way. But I've heard recently they're looking for more of the CEO type. And you look at the coach, you know who also wasn't a coordinator before he was a head coach? Somebody named Urban Meyer, by the way. Yeah, you forget all about that. And I think Mike Tomlin, by the way, was only a coordinator before he got the Steelers head job. So I'm sure South Carolina can live with somebody who wasn't a coordinator. My bigger problem for them is the point. I heard it pointed out that the recruiting in South Carolina, which is where he was able to recruit big time, Gilmore and Clowney and those guys, it's not at that level anymore. There's not those guys in South Carolina. So he's going to have to go outside the state, competing with Clemson and Georgia. And don't forget Jeff Collins at Georgia Tech, who's, Todd McShay is sure he's bringing the national championship to him. Marty Smith, one of them. He's Florida, Florida State, Miami, all those teams.
Max Fence around North Carolina too. You got to remember
the chain link, the double-sided fence. But anyway, I don't know. It just seemed like a less, but Dabo was too. I was going to say less inspiring hire.
Yeah, I think it is a less inspiring hire, but it might be the right one that inspires the fan base. I was talking to a friend of mine that is a South Carolina alum and former season ticket holder because he just couldn't handle anymore. The Muschamp era just really was disillusioned by the whole program and literally gave up his seats for 2 years. This was the second year that he did it, and he's kind of rejuvenated a little bit in the right way, and he understands. He's a smart guy, and he understands that we're not getting a national championship for South Carolina next year, but maybe you get 5 wins next year, maybe you get 8 wins the year after, and maybe it's 9, 10 wins, 8, 9, 10 wins. You get a statue maybe there. So I think you're right with the CEO thing too. If he hires somebody, if he hires well, gets coaches, gets that fan base excited. I mean, there's talent around the Southeast that he can keep and make them a little bit exciting. I'm not, this. I'm so anti-SEC, right? I don't think that conference is as good as everyone thinks it is. National pundits have been writing this narrative that just is exhausting, and it's probably broken since Tim Tebow was there. That East is winnable. And even if it's not winnable, second place in the East is very attainable. I'm sorry, after Florida and Georgia, there's not much else, and you can't tell me it's Kentucky, Missouri, Vanderbilt. You can't tell Tennessee even. Tennessee's a dumpster fire. So I could go on all day about the SEC. The West is good. Okay, the East is not. So 7, 8, 9 wins in that conference, they might be really good. I don't know. I like the hire.
Well, the East is not great. I agree with you, but there's Georgia and Florida there, right? So they can beat one of them or the other one, trying to beat both of those in a year. But, this is something you and I talked about talking in the offseason. Whoever thought Clemson would be where they are now and Dabo could recruit like he is now and dominate Florida State like he's doing now. So it could happen. The chances aren't very high, but it could happen. And, good for them. They definitely need somebody new. So maybe it'll work out and the rivalry will become a rivalry again.
We can hope.
Okay, Kevron's favorite topic, and I think this is Nelson Wilhite's favorite topic today too, man. No, I say our next topic, couple topics down, will be Nelson's favorite, and he's not going to violently agree with me on that one. Ohio State has been kinged, and they will be in the Big Ten championship game, eligible to be in the playoff. What's your take on this?
What take do you want? The take that I should think, or the take that my personal involvement with some Ohio State folks? Now, I do love Tom Gladaszewski. We lived near each other and played softball with each other for a lot of years in Florida. And then Ron Oswick is a friend too that makes really good beer, and they're both in our group. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but all the opposing fans, I see Notre Dame people all over the social medias that are absolutely killing Notre Dame or killing Ohio State, because Ohio State fans are usually the ones that are screaming that the 13th data point is, the reason that Notre Dame doesn't deserve to ever be in the playoff is because they don't play in a conference championship and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I don't mind it. It is what it is. Are they the fourth best team in the country? Maybe. I just hope somebody blows the doors off of them in the playoffs. And whether it's Clemson or, eye test, I've watched them a couple times, literally 2 times this year. I'm not all impressed. Shaun Wade was, everyone was so excited about him. That guy can't cover. He can't. I mean, he was, I think, blessed with having Chase Young and guys last year that made him look like a decent cover corner. I know he's a safety for the most part, but even he can't cover a tight end. So I'm not, and he'll probably go first round, right? Because I'm a draft expert. But body wise, he's a great football player. I'm just not impressed with him. And Chris Olave is great, the wide receiver. Master Teague has been really good. That's one that Clemson let get away. I say that he picked Ohio State over Clemson, but he's a big boy. He's a bowling ball. Reminds me of Clyde Edwards-Helaire a little bit. And Justin Fields is Justin Fields, but he's kind of regressed. But then again, so is Trevor, I guess, technically, stats-wise. Anyway, stats-wise. Not he hasn't regressed. I'm not impressed with them. They definitely gave up a lot of points to Rutgers. So I'm okay with whatever. They were going to beat Michigan by 1,000 this past week.
Well, here's my take. If I think Texas A&M isn't the fifth best team, I guess it's between Florida and Ohio State and for number 4. And I mean, Texas A&M beat Florida, so I don't know. Ohio State, I guess. I think they're the fourth best team. They're the team I thought was going to win it before all the COVID cancellations and opt-outs and all that stuff. And maybe I have a bias there. I thought they were going to win it, but they haven't been as impressive as they should have been.
They're talented, though. I mean, the talent is there, right? But maybe they're playing down the old Clemson thing. Maybe they're playing down to the level of their competition very, very easily. You go up 6 scores against Indiana. It wasn't 6. But you're kids. You're 18 to 22 years old. You take your foot off the gas just naturally, right? So and then the other team just kept coming. You're like, oh, wait, I got to get cold. I got to get warm again to get back up. So maybe that's a little bit of it, too. They are talented. Justin Fields is a great quarterback, and it hurts me to say all this. But because I don't like them.
It hurts you because Tom picks the opposite of you.
He does.
That's a pretty good record doing it, too.
He does.
Okay, here's another slight rant. I'm not going to yell about this one. I just think it's funny. 2 years ago, we heard Alabama was the best team till Clemson beat them, and they were the best team. Then last year, LSU was the best ever team, and now Alabama's the best ever team again. Give it a rest. Let somebody finish the season before you call them the best team ever, right? Alabama lost to 2 out of your 3 best team evers have lost. The only one that won was Clemson when they beat Alabama, who was crowned the best team ever before they played Clemson. And now last year, LSU is the best team ever, and they won. They haven't even waited a full season yet. About midway through the season, I started hearing talk about this Alabama team's the best team ever. Well, the last Alabama team that was crowned the best team ever in the middle of the season lost 44-16 to Clemson.
You want me to get off my lawn, guy? Because I'm going to be that guy right now. Why does it matter? Why does it matter? Why does it matter who the best team ever was?
Because they want you to tune in to watch the best team ever either win and really be the best team ever or lose, and you know how it goes.
I'm extremely guilty of it on some of the social medias where I'm not Casey the Beef Cregan. So I'm extremely guilty of it. There's no question of it, right? Like I would get involved in these rants and these conversations, and I go down the rabbit hole so easily. God, it's like grease on these rabbit holes for me. But then again, at the end of the day, when I'm talking to you and thinking about it, trying to be a little bit more professional about it, it doesn't matter. It's literally just the fodder, right? And you know I'm anti-fodder guy. I hate the preseason polls. I hate the playoff polls. I hate everything. So that's just me. So I guess I'm saying get off my lawn, guy, again with the whole why does it matter?
Hey, I'm the senior guy here. I should be saying get off my lawn. and I will be saying that. Okay, Nelson, you're not going to agree with me on this one. Speaking of best ever, so much love has been given to this Coastal BYU game. I walked away from it like in the third quarter. And I mean, I went back, right? But usually I wouldn't walk away from a Clemson game ever. It didn't hold my interest. It was just kind of like back and forth. Maybe I've turned into the guy who needs the 42-15 or 42-38 games. I don't know, but it just maybe it's because I realized that neither one of them were what they were built up to be. Sorry, Nelson. Coastal's having a great year, but come on, these aren't championship teams.
No, Coastal's a great story. They were picked. They were picked late. Sorry, I was just reading UCF. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, no, I think Coastal's a great story. They were picked last in the Sun Belt, and I remember doing actually the first week that we did our picks. I actually did like extensive research on it and looking at the seasons, and I broke it down for an hour and a half for each of our picks before getting every one of them wrong. But Coastal's a great story. I really like the quarterback. I love CJ Maribel, the running back. But you're right. I mean, they're still the Sun Belt Conference. I love watching them. I got to be honest with you too. I turned it off as soon as the Clemson game started. So the Clemson game started at 7:30. And thankfully Nelson was texting me so I could go back and watch, especially the last play of the game. And Coastal went up. However, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you a little bit. I didn't walk away from it per se. I made sure at 5:30 that it was on. It was one of those off times. It wasn't the noon in the East Coast, noon 3:30 or 7:30 games, or Notre Dame playing 2:30. But it was fun. I enjoyed it. I thought BYU, especially after that first play, should have run all over Coastal. They didn't. They went away from it. I don't know why they went away from it, because they were just running at will against that defense. It was fun. It was fun. It was what it was. It was a great story. Again, that one's a great story, how they just turned everything around in 2 days and were able to play. There was talk this week about Ohio State playing Texas A&M, but that's not going to happen. So it was cool. It was a 2020 story. It was fun. It was cool. Coastal still undefeated.
I don't disagree with anything you said. I just don't agree it was the game of the year.
No.
Clemson and Notre Dame, for example. Okay, something good happened this week, Casey. I'm not going to rant on this one. Apparently, Oklahoma is not in the championship talk anymore after a relatively close win last week. And while I do love Spencer Rattler, I'm happy that nobody's talking about Oklahoma this week.
Yeah, you're especially close to it too down there in Big 12 country, right? You hear it a lot more than I do, especially up here. I mean, we're hearing about Greg Schiano and what he's going to do to fix the defense at Rutgers. So I'm not hearing a lot of Oklahoma talk here in New Jersey, but so it's kind of nice. But I'm sure it's nice for you in Big 12 country to not hear it. But you're right. They are what they are. Next year they'll be right back in. Spencer Rattler with a year under his belt, he'll be right there at the top of the talk to play. He's talented. He's good. He throws seeds, man. He's going to be good. They'll get better at the wide receiver position. No one really too spectacular there for them. They don't really have a running game, so hopefully that offense gets better. Maybe next year we'll talk about every single week.
Sometimes Spencer's seeds go to the other team, though.
They do. They do. He does have that problem.
We're going to talk. Let's bring in Zach Locks Parker, as we're going to talk about the best conference championship games in recent memory. I think he'll know where. I know where he's going with some of these. But Dr. Locks,
what's up, fellas?
How's your office hours today?
It's good. The office is closed for tonight. We're into game picks here. We're ready when you guys are ready to fire.
Ooh, well, we're gonna talk about a couple of things first. We wanted your expertise. Casey put on here to talk about the best conference championship games in recent memory. I don't know where recent is.
Hold on. I just ranted.
You did what?
I like to find hypocrisy and contradiction. I am calling myself out. I just ranted about best team ever. Oh, and then I put on the sheet best conference championship games ever. So I'm calling myself out. My apologies.
Get ahead of it.
You have to have one of us call you out, or both prefer.
That's a good question by my boy Smitty. What's Oklahoma going to do without Shane Beamer? I don't know. Maybe not throw to the tight ends anymore. I don't know what they're going to do. Keep moving. I just wanted to say hello to Smitty.
No worries. Okay, my first go-to is C.J. Spiller running for 6,429 yards and Clemson losing to Georgia Tech. But there's a low-key favorite one I have in there. It's 2010 SEC championship game, Auburn and South Carolina. Auburn just scored again. What you got, Zach?
I was at that Clemson Georgia Tech game. That was when CJ Spiller was my guy. Back in the day, run that wheel route over and over and over. It was great. But What beef? That was no punts in that game.
No
Right?
punts.
No
They
punts.
stopped us on 4th down. That was the
Yeah.
only turnover.
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, just come to mind Alabama, Georgia when Tua came in. That was fantastic. I mean, I didn't really have a big dog in the fight, but Georgia had them against the ropes, and Saban made the call and brought Tua in, and that started, the whole legend of Tua throwing that bullet down the sideline to score that touchdown was pretty incredible. So that was quite a comeback too. What else do you guys think?
What if the one where Georgia ended up at like the 3 and threw an incomplete pass?
Aaron Murray.
Aaron Murray, yeah.
2012 or something like that.
Yeah.
Aaron Murray to Orson Charles 3 times and couldn't
do it.
get it.
Here's the bad news.
No.
I can't remember a single Big Ten or Pac-12 championship game except the one that somebody won 50. Ohio State beat somebody like 54-0 or something. I can't remember. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah,
that's a common theme.
Wasn't there an ACC game? It was played in the rain. It was like 9-6. It was like
that was all. I
Blake-
was there. It was in Tampa. It was Boston College and Virginia Tech.
That's right.
I had 8 tickets to this game. Right, 8 tickets. A girl I was seeing or whatever back in the day worked at a school, and they were handed tickets. So I walked up with a buddy. Well, I think probably with JJ. And I had 6 Virginia Tech kids walk up to me because I had 6 tickets up in the air, and they were like, "How much?" And I go, "How much you want to give me?" And they went and huddled for a second. They huddled and talked to each other. They came back to me. They said, "How about free?" And I said, "Okay." And I handed it to him, and I said, "Enjoy the game." And those 6 guys, me and I think it was Jeff. It was me and somebody, and about 7 more people watched the ACC championship game that night in Raymond James Stadium. It's pretty funny. It was terrible. Terrible game.
The joke about the Atlanta Falcons tickets is the guy put 4 of them under his windshield and left his car, and he went back later and there were 6.
Fantastic.
Yeah. There was also, I think there was a good one. I know Nelson's saying Ohio State beat Wisconsin, but wasn't there a good one when Clemson played North Carolina up in Charlotte? The game that North Carolina got called for the offsides on the onside kick in which they recovered. Yeah. There was a game that night with Michigan State and maybe it was Iowa. It was Michigan State and somebody, but I remember sitting in the bar in Charlotte. You're right. I shouldn't say remember and bar in the same sentence. However, I do remember watching that game, and I believe it was like a 10-7 game too, but it was the Big Ten championship that day, and it was, I wouldn't say exciting, but it was close.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the Pac-12. I can't
remember.
Yeah. It's
even thinking like USC years with Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart in those years. I don't even remember them having anybody really close to them in that
conference. I don't think they had a championship game back then.
Yeah, they might. That's right. That's right.
I think they held out for a while before they realized. I went back and looked at like the last 5 ACC championship games since Clemson's been on this run. The average score has been like 45-18, and that's the average. That's including the 37-34 or whatever that score was of that game, the Clemson North Carolina game. The rest of them were like 45-10 and 62-17, and I think Clemson has just been rolling for the last 5 years in the ACC championship game. And that's a perfect segue into our next topic, fellas, because the early spreads are out for these 2 championship games, ACC, SEC. Clemson, 7.5 over Notre Dame, and that's with minus 113 is the juice, and Alabama, 14.5 over Florida, minus 102. Beef, let you go first on the Clemson Notre Dame spread there, 7.5. Thoughts?
I don't get it. Be honest with you, I don't understand it at all. But Vegas knows, and that's all I keep saying to people. Vegas knows, and I don't know why they know or what they know, but they know, and they've seen these 2 teams play already, and they've seen the other team, the underdog, win. I know it was double overtime, but this one's fishy to me. I don't know why. I know Trevor Lawrence didn't play, but is he worth 7.5 points? Maybe. But it's hard to say because DJ threw for 1,100 yards against them the last time. I hope that Clemson's healthy on defense. Maybe they're expecting that. But, man, they were healthy this first drive against Virginia Tech on Saturday and didn't look all that dominant. So there's a lot of concern there. But 7.5 is a big number for that game, especially in a rematch. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'll tell you, when we get to the Alabama one, I'm way more confident in that one.
Locks, what you got on Clemson Notre Dame? You are the doc in the house.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch 7.5 if I had to right now. No way. But I would imagine, like you're saying, Beef, I think it's probably coming from the defense being healthy. I mean, we know how banged up everybody was for the first go round. So I'm hoping, but I mean, I wasn't very inspired after watching the Virginia Tech game this past week. It just seemed kind of aimless to me as far as the defense was going, and it maybe it's me, but I don't know, man. I think it's a 3-point game. It's going to be pretty tight. Unfortunately, I hope I'm wrong. I hope Vegas is right. Let's just say that. I'll take it.
Let me be the counter here. Clemson had a 7-point lead at Notre Dame with Notre Dame 91 yards away, without Trevor, without 3 starters on defense, and no running game to speak of, right, with a true freshman quarterback. So why wouldn't you think Trevor, a true freshman quarterback who couldn't run because his shoulder was hurt, and so that part of the game was gone. So why wouldn't you think that Clemson would be able to win by 7, I don't know about the half, but just say 7, with Trevor, with a healthy defense, which I still question because being sore is just kind of makes me want out there. Why wouldn't you think with a healthy defense and Trevor in there that Clemson could theoretically win by 7? I agree, by the way, they shouldn't be favored by 7, but I think they could win by 7.
Right. I mean, I think I think we're focusing a lot on Clemson, and that's where my concern lies, right? But that other team's pretty daggone good too. Ian Book is a load, man. He's hard to bring down. He's shifty. He finds the tight ends, which notoriously Clemson has, and Michael Mayer is really good. They have that Ben Skoranek kid who just for some reason is like a 6'7" Hunter Renfro. Just throw it up to him and he's going to catch it. They got the other wide receiver, Kenny McKinley. It's not Kenny McKinley. He played for South Carolina, but it's something like along those lines. Nelson will help me out here. But he's been really good too. So I'm worried about that squad and that defense. Clark Lee, who hopefully is the Vanderbilt head coach coming up, made North Carolina look very pedestrian in the second half of that game. He makes some adjustments too. So we're gonna have to do some work on offense, I think, and defense. But I don't know. I think it's hard to beat Venables twice. At least that's my hope. So maybe the 7.5 is good. I don't know.
But Beef, that defense gave up 33 in regulation at home to a freshman quarterback with no running.
And so gave up 400 and some odd yards, right? I know.
It does sound like a lot. Zach, I'll let you get the last word here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to remember too that Notre Dame is a run-centric, run-first team too. But now you put Book in there, throwing and Book running as well, like he did to us the first time. So they're on a roll, man. As much as I hate to say it, but I don't like it. I'm nervous about it. It's like a week and a half away.
We're definitely picking that one next week too.
But worry about it. Everybody's hopping on the 7.5 train. Not even me. I was just being a counter to try and throw some interesting comments out there. But, okay. Next game, we'll let Zach go. He's the expert. He's our SEC honk.
SEC honk, yeah.
Honk. Alabama 14.5 minus 102 versus Florida. Zach, Locks, Parker, what you got?
Do they have an over/under out on it yet? Is it 104? Or?
I didn't see it.
It's gonna be a track meet. It's gonna be a Big 12 game, man. I'm telling you, it's like 69 to 52, something like that. So I think it's gonna be up and down the field. But I'm sorry I missed Beef's SEC rant earlier. I've never heard that before. But I mean, Alabama is the best team in the world. We know that. But I think Florida is going to score too. So I don't know about 14.5 too. I mean, I could see it being maybe a 10-point game. It's going to be like a late score, whoever has the ball last. But it's probably a 2-possession game. I don't know if it's 14 points though. We'll have to see. But I think Alabama's definitely going to win the game.
It will be intriguing to see where these spreads go over the next week.
Yeah. Write that down. It'll be fun to see.
I was just looking just to see if there was an over/under out on it yet. According to ESPN, there's not, but the number on ESPN is now 14, so it's already moving a little bit. I would take Alabama, and I've been wrong all year long, right? So just take it with a grain of salt. I would take Alabama all day, every day. Take the mortgage, take the wife and kids, lay it all out there for it. I think Alabama wins this game by 3-4 scores.
Well, you know what
Florida defense is not good.
That means Tom Gladaszewski is going to take
and win.
Again.
Get my house.
By half a point. All right, let's get into our picks, fellas. That's why we got Zach Locks Parker here. He is tied for first. If I was smart enough, I would have pulled up the standings to embarrass all three of us. And there you go. Zach is 32, 36, and 2. I'm also 32, 36, and 2. But Zach was in first place last week, so we'll give him the courtesy of picking last. And Casey is still in the hunt. Case, you're only 4 games out. If we both die this week, you got a chance. All right, and metaphorically die. I mean, picks wise, not real wise. All right, first game up is Army-Navy, which usually is played by itself, which is really weird to have all these other games around it. Navy is traveling to the banks of the Hudson River. They're getting 7 points. Casey the Beef Cregan, as happens every week, you get to go first.
The honorary pick, right? I just don't know why, but everything that I'm seeing is saying that Army's actually going to lose this game by a lot, and it's normally pretty close. I'm going Navy here, and I don't know why. Go Navy, beat Army, even though I have family in the Army.
All right. Casey, I'm doing the Tom Gladaszewski strategy here. I'm going Army. I just think they're going to ground them to a pulp, and I'll take Army. Zach Locks Parker, who you got?
I'm with you, Marty. I got Army here too. Just gonna run them to death. It's gonna be 4 passes type of thing. So they're gonna, yeah, maybe exactly. So it'll be a real surprise when they do throw one. But yeah, they're gonna run it down their throat, I think. And Navy's just not having the best year, unfortunately. But always good to watch. It's a great game to see.
Did you have that right? Is that Army +7?
No.
It's Army -7.
Oh,
I miss one a week. Nelson,
I know, but I'm sorry. I got that messed up. All right. Well, I'll stay with it just because. Doesn't matter.
It could be a tight one.
Yeah.
Navy's getting 7. I'll give you the option to change.
No. I don't want to change. I'm good.
All right. I'm halfway sure on this next one. Mac Brown has picked up his fence, and he is traveling to Miami to play Pretty Boy and the Hurricanes. And Mac's getting 3 points in Coral Gables or wherever the heck Miami Gardens or Coral Gables or whatever suburb they play in. Zach, you're up first.
UNC won this game last year 28-25. You got Miami looking to get into a New Year's Six Bowl. So having a really nice season down there. But I don't think this is the game for them. This is Miami's, we've talked about before, they're just kind of a one-trick pony with their quarterback, Derek King. And I think this is the end of the road for their one-loss season here. I got UNC, more of a balanced team. Miami's just not going to be able to hold it together. I just kind of got a weird feeling about it. So I'm going to take UNC on this one.
Nice. Beef.
I'm going Miami all day. 8-1. Derek King, Brevin, the tight end. I love the running backs. I'm going Miami all day long, just to be different.
It's
in Miami Gardens, by the way. Miami Gardens is where the stadium is. Coral Gables is where the campus is. Just Florida geography for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Beef. I'm going to call both of you Dr. Beef.
Doctor of Geography.
Next week.
This is a tough one for me because, who do I choose? Do I choose a team that gets more credit than any team in the world for losing games? Or do I choose the coach that I think is probably the worst coach in the ACC? And I can't. I'm not sure who to choose here, but I'm going to choose North Carolina because I don't like Manny Diaz. How's that for solid analysis?
Nailed it.
I think it's going to be a close game, and they're getting 3 points, so, why not? All right, Virginia is getting 2.5, traveling to that juggernaut we saw last Saturday night, Virginia Tech Hokies with their cold quarterback. And I'm not a lot to say here. I am going to take Virginia in this one. I just think I'm not impressed by Virginia Tech, and I think Virginia and Bronco. In the coaching matchup, I'll take Bronco Mendenhall every day. So I take Virginia. And up next is Locks. So you got Locks?
You look at the slate of games we're picking here, and you're thinking, "Boy, this is awful." But there's another one coming up soon. This is
a couple more.
Yeah, this is like a coin flip, man. I mean, I literally flip a coin. Virginia. We played them earlier in the year. Maybe they've gotten better. Virginia Tech, like you said, they just didn't look good. So I'll take Virginia.
2 very confident votes for Virginia.
Yeah.
Who do you got, Beef?
I like Virginia beat the snot out of Boston College. Albeit without Yurkovich for BC last week, but that kind of started swaying me. But then you two picked Virginia, so I'm going to go Virginia Tech.
All right.
That's literally my reasoning.
Beef, I see your strategy. You're trying to make a move here.
I don't know. That's not good.
Your strategy fails because you get to go first this time. Oklahoma State is a 5-point favorite at Baylor. Beef, who you got? Your Oklahoma State's there, buddy.
I got to stick with them, right? They've been good to me all year, losing bets one after the next. So I'm going to stick with them. Hopefully, maybe my luck changes with them this week. Oklahoma State covers that 5.
I'm going with the Pokes also. They're not impressive to me, but Baylor's less so. So I'm going to go with Oklahoma State.
Spencer Sanders is not good.
Yeah. Remember, they needed him so much in that first game against Tulsa. He's not been good. Zach Locks Parker.
Oklahoma State has raked me over the coals so many times this season. We talk about the athletes, how much better they are. And they get these spreads and they blow it, and it's just this time of year for Oklahoma State. I mean, they drive me nuts. It's like the Gundy factor. He's not an elite coach, I don't think. He just he's a good 6-game coach probably. That's maybe it. But so I'm just going to go ahead and pick him again. Give me Oklahoma State.
He's the man. He's the man. He's 4.
Baylor's not good. Yeah, he is the man.
This is why people turn in for this solid analysis. We're heading out here. USC, the ones that have the rights to the USC letters, and in California are 2.5-point favorites at UCLA. Locks, you're up first. I know you know all about the Pac-12.
I do. I watch West Coast football. Never. I looked at everybody's talking. Oh, UCLA, they're coming along. They're playing better. If you looked at who they played, they beat Arizona State, who's played only I think like 3 games, maybe 4. Arizona, who's just not good. No, 2. Okay, that's it. And Cal. So they beat them and they look good. Whoopee. They lost to Oregon and they lost to Colorado. And Colorado evidently is like up and coming. They must be just on the outside of the top 5 for some reason. They haven't played anybody worth a crap. So I mean, just USC. It's UCLA is not good. Chip Kelly, another failed experiment. Go back to Oregon.
All right. Zach Parker takes USC. Beef, you're up next.
He's so angry about it, though, when we go out west. Well, we got to go out west. I saw this. These games are my fault. And why I even said it was my turn, I should have just stuck with Marty when he said that it was Zach's turn because these games were awful to pick. JJ, yeah, he's funny. USC at UCLA, huh? Clay Helton's going to save his job another year. He's going to stay at that school for 100 years. I like what UCLA did last week. I don't know what they did, but I like it a lot. So I'm going to go with Southern Cal. I think Southern Cal is going to win this game by a lot.
It's a trifecta, fellas. I'm taking Southern Cal here. All right. Now, you think the regular 5 games are bad.
Here we go.
We're picking 2 alternates because, it's 2020. I can't believe we have to do this. Wisconsin is playing at Iowa, and it's a pick 'em. So I'm going to take Wisconsin. I think they overcome the pink locker rooms. Isn't that where the pink locker rooms are?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Wisconsin. Angry Wisconsin scored 6 total points against Indiana last week. I'm going to take Wisconsin to upset Iowa. Well, I guess not an upset. It's a pick 'em. Locks, who you got?
Wisconsin's won the last 4 in this series here. So, but their offense the past couple games versus Northwestern and Indiana just hasn't really been clicking. They've had a real start and stop season too. So I'm going to go with the home team. I'm going with Iowa on this one. Pick them.
All right. Locks makes the move there, and I can't get Iowa in there. Okay. B?
I'm gonna agree with Locks here. I like the wave that they do to the kids at the end of the first quarter, so that's why I'm picking Iowa.
Marty Island here. I'm going with the
Marty Island.
It won't even matter. They won't even count the game.
Now, the game everybody has been waiting for us to pick. Dun, dun, dun.
Why this wasn't in our top 5, I don't know.
The Duke Blue Devils, the Duke Blue Devils, and Chase Bryce, I assume, though he might be benched by now, they're getting 5 points. They travel to Florida State, the Seminoles, and the question is not who's going to win the game and will Duke cover, but will the game be played? No. Duke is getting 5, traveling to. I'm trying to see who I've got down as first. Oh, good luck, Beef. You're up first, Beef. Duke is getting 5 in Tallahassee.
I mean, we're doing these extra games, right, because there's going to be cancellations. Florida State hasn't played in about 3.5 months. So what are the chances that this game actually happens? That was kind of my joke, that I even put it in here. But I think it depends on who's playing for Florida State. But this is how bad Duke is. God, I feel so bad for Chase Bryce. But this is how bad Duke is, that they're 5-point dogs to Florida State. Okay, give 3 for the home team just because. So they're still 2-point dogs. Oh, God. This is going to hurt to say, but I'm picking Florida State just because Duke is that bad. And that bad worse than Florida State.
Florida State for young B. Okay, I've got to go next. Zach is going to steal my pick. I have a feeling. I heard a stat the other day that Duke has 417 turnovers this year. Wake Forest has 1. Can you believe that? Wake Forest
Really?
Not bad. They've only turned the ball over once. But Duke has a whole bunch, and I know Chase Bryce has struggled, and finding out things aren't so good outside of Clemson. You don't have the wide receivers and the line and ETN behind you. So I don't know who to pick in this game. This is a wild guess. I'm going to take Florida State. But who knows? And the only reason we're picking this game, even as an alternate, is because one of our other alternates got canceled. Cincinnati.
Yeah, right.
I left this one off to start, so it didn't even make the alternates to start. But we're so low on the totem pole that we have to choose it. And I'm taking Florida State and hoping nothing gets canceled. Jack Locks Parker, final pick of the night.
Yeah, this is literally the toilet bowl right here. I mean, 4 wins between these two teams. I mean, who would think you'd say that with Florida State in the conversation? And Florida State only has 2 of the 4. I mean, Florida State, just home team. I mean, I don't know. 14-3.
Who's left at Florida State?
14-3.
3 of us are playing.
Yeah.
Mike Norvell's 14-year-old son, I think, is
maybe
bad.
All right, here we go. Let me give the rando picks. Well, let's do our picks first. Here, let me do the rundown. Casey the Beef Cregan, Navy, Miami, Virginia Tech, Oklahoma State, Southern Cal, Iowa, and Florida State. Marty takes Army, North Carolina, Virginia, Oklahoma State, Southern Cal, Wisconsin, and Florida State, and I hate my picks. Jack Lodge Parker takes Army, North Carolina, Virginia, Oklahoma State, USC, Iowa, and Florida State. Man, I sure hope Zach, the winner and the loser, doesn't come down to Duke and Florida State. Well, Wisconsin and Iowa. Wouldn't that be just perfect?
Yeah.
Wow. So that I hope I got those right, fellas, because I've screwed these up before.
Sure.
Once or
They're
twice.
right.
Rando picks. Rando had a bad week last week. And
Finally.
Rando 23 and 27 on the season. Still, Casey's still looking up at Rando, I think. Navy, Miami, Virginia Tech, Baylor, USC, Iowa, and Florida State. And Casey, if you would do me a favor and thank the world while I try and find the exit music.
I sure will. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it. Keep those comments rolling. We do try to read them and see them and give shout outs where we can. We do really, really, really appreciate you guys making comments. I don't care if it's Nelson doing it or Kevron saying hello, JJ in Tampa joining us this week. Whoever wants to get out there, we appreciate it very much. Thanks to Zach for coming on, doing our picks every week. Nelson Wilhite for taking care of us on the Seldom Used Reserve message board. John McGee, Uncle John, for me, always likes everything. Big supporter of the show. Everyone on the Seldom Used Reserve website. We really do appreciate it. Sluggo Podcast, Chopping Beef tomorrow night. They listen, like, and share. Everyone who listens, likes, and shares on behalf of Marty Coleman and Zach Locks Parker. I am Casey the Beef Creegans. Thanks so much for listening. We'll see you next week on Sluggo.
I think that sounds pretty good.